I'm Celeste Licorish from Hamilton Community Foundations. Welcome to Hamilton's Vital Signs. This show is where we talk about the many aspects of community life that make our city vibrant and inclusive. According to the latest census, 1/4 of Hamiltonians are immigrants, and about 10% have come to Hamilton in the past 5 years. Over the years, immigrants have made many contributions to our city and to our nation in all aspects of life, from the arts to the economy to the sciences, education, and well beyond. Our city recognizes the value of immigration to growth and prosperity, and we aspire to be a welcoming and inclusive city. But not all newcomers to Hamilton feel welcome. Hamilton for All is an initiative that is working to change that by busting some of the myths about immigrants. You might have seen some of the posters around the city that are part of the campaign. You don't just belong in Hamilton, you are Hamilton. The foundation has been thrilled to support this important work, and today I'm joined by two people working with organizations behind Hamilton for All. Yohana Otite, Program Manager of the Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion, and John Ariyo works for the City of Hamilton and is a member of the Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So I'd like to start off by asking you both, each can take a turn, to talk about a little bit about your backgrounds and how you came to be doing the work that you're doing today.
Do I start?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Like you said, my name is John Ariyo. My background is, I came to Canada myself about 14 years ago.
Okay.
I was born in Nigeria, and having made Canada my home, it's important when you think about the contributions that immigrants are making in this country. Yeah. And so I was working in Mississauga until about 4 years ago when I was hired by the City of Hamilton to be doing this work, and I've been enjoying that ever since.
Nice. Good. So you are sort of a newcomer to Hamilton, but understand the immigrant experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how about you, Johanna?
Yeah, I'm Yohana Otite. I also am an immigrant, so I came to Canada straight to Hamilton as an economic immigrant in 2007. And since I arrived, my background is working with nonprofits as a communications and advocacy professional. So that's where I am always geared towards. So I started working with the settlement agencies as settlement worker, and always advocating on behalf of immigrant and newcomer families. And I have been involved with different nonprofits in Hamilton. Actually, with HCCI, I was first a volunteer there when I arrived here.
You started off as a volunteer.
Yes, and after when there are opportunities came 3 years ago for managing the program called Diversity on Board.
Yep.
I joined the HCCI, and I also joined HCCI as a council member, and I've been involved that way.
Nice. So Hamilton for All is a program between the Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion and the Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council. So tell us about the mandate of those organizations specifically.
When it comes to the Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council, it is one of the 77 local immigration partnerships across the country.
77?
Yeah, one out of 77.
Nice.
Funded by the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada.
Okay.
And that was established here in Hamilton in 2009. And so it's been around for almost 10 years. And over the last 10 years, it's been great because the HCCI partnership involves all service providers you can think about supporting newcomers, whether in the areas of settlement or housing or health or around education or around employment. Over 75 partners right now represent the Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council.
Okay. So they all sit on the council?
This council member itself, it's about, I would say, close to about 20 members.
Okay.
But we've got extended members that are working on different working groups, doing different things. And the partnership itself is embedded within the City of Hamilton.
Okay.
So that's how we're involved with that process as well.
Okay. And how about the Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion? What's the mandate for that?
Yeah, Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion, in short HCCI, was formed in 2006 as a result of the Strengthening Hamilton Community Initiative, which was kind of a response after the Hindu temple was burned in 2001. So that was the immediate response for the community to kind of heal and address that issue. But the leaders in that initiative realized that we need something permanent and kind of a resource center. So HCCI was established as a civic resource center focusing on education and capacity building and community engagement around making the city more inclusive, promoting diversity, equity, and speaking out against discrimination.
That's great, and that's a great jumping off point for the Hamilton for All initiative, which I'd like to hear a little bit more about how, specifically some of the myth busting that's going on around this. So tell me a little bit about how some of the myths that you're aiming to get rid of with this program and project.
I mean, I know Johanna will definitely speak better to that, but just in general, I mean, we've heard people talk about, you know, immigrants are coming to this country, they're taking jobs away. You know, some will say that they're lazy, they're not educated, they don't want to assimilate within the community. And some even talk about crime, that they bring crime when, you know, crime rate goes up when the newcomers come to town. And these are all myths. There are factual evidence and reports that have been written around that you know, those myths are not true.
And when you think about it, Canada was built on immigrants. Immigrants have always been an important part of how the country has grown. So it's interesting that these myths have come up and this program. So how is the project helping to dispel that?
Yeah, just to add on that, these are not only myths, they are not all, they are also not very true. For example, there is a recent study that came out about immigrant education. Actually, Canada should be very grateful for immigrants because Canada is one of the most highly educated countries because of immigrants, because we get more educated immigrants that actually Canadian born, and also immigrants' kids are more likely to go to college and university and post-secondary than also Canadian born generation. So that's I just want to underline that those myths are not true most of the time.
And that's the problem with myths and stereotypes, that they're usually not based in reality, but they become sort of the cultural norms, and so it's normal to hear people talk about those kinds of things. So tell us about the specific aspects of Hamilton for All. What does it encompass? So you don't just belong in Hamilton, you are Hamilton. So how did that messaging come out, and what are the components of the program?
We can start with that.
You can start with that.
Yeah, so the idea for the campaign kind of started when there was an incident that happened in Hamilton right after Trump was elected. One of the committee members, who happened to be black, was kind of confronted at a supermarket where, go back to your country, we don't need you. And the guy kind of showed her like the Trump's picture. We need him here because you guys are like terrorists, we don't need you, something like that. And then that was reported, and at that time Nicole Longstaff, who was the program manager of the HCCI Council, and me we got together, and I wish we could do something. And both of our organization, we have the kind of a mandate or vision to make Hamilton a more inclusive place. So we have to do some kind of advocacy.
Hamilton is also a sanctuary city as well, right?
Yeah. So it started from that, and we did a little bit of research, and we found out that Toronto already was doing the Toronto for All, and which was their first campaign was on against Islamophobia. And also following that, Ajax also had Ajax for All, which was by the town of Ajax, and they did a campaign around also welcoming immigrants and fighting prejudice. So that's how it started, and it just happened to be like kind of a natural partnership for the two organizations to come together behind that.
So we've got a couple of minutes before we go to break, so I have one more question to ask before break. So creating ambassadors is part of the program. Tell me a little bit about the ambassador program.
The ambassador one is because it's one thing when you hear about immigrants, but people usually change their mind when they really meet like a real person. So it's behind that. So we have 6 ambassadors for the campaign who are ready to go out to community meetings to meet like everyday Hamiltonians to tell their stories.
Okay.
So through that, like people can learn about like, okay, so immigrants are, when you put people's faces.
Yeah.
People.
So are they the people in the poster campaigns? I don't know if people.
No, they are not. The people in the camp in the poster are, those are like just stock images. And we have a reason behind why we did that. It's based on the experiences from other campaigns who used real pictures, and there were some negative.
Some backlash.
Yeah, backlash. Yeah. So because of that, we didn't put their image out there to prevent that. But their images are on the website. And then, as I said, they are part of the campaign as ambassadors. They are being invited to schools to go to speak to students.
Okay.
Just yesterday, for example, there was an event at the Beasley Community Center. One of our ambassadors went there to share his experience. So that's the main goal is, if you have questions about an immigrant, instead of going online and, reading about those stereotypes, you
can meet somebody in person.
Yeah,
that's really great. Do you have anything to add to that about the ambassadors?
Ambassadors are key because they're actually putting a face to the name.
Yeah.
Right. So if, like Johanna said, if you've got questions, there are some of these myths, some of these questions about whether it has to do with culture, whether it has to do with religion, you can ask that person directly. And so there's no need to be afraid of each other. Yeah. So you can talk to that person. They will tell you from their view what it is. It's also a way of creating public education as well.
Yeah, it really personalizes things when you can have someone with lived experience, someone who actually understands what's going on.
Absolutely.
Share their story. That's wonderful. Well, this has been great. We're going to throw to break now. We'll be back shortly to continue our conversation on Hamilton for All.
Sesame Street Live Let's Party is coming to Hamilton February 22nd. You're invited to take part in the sunniest, funniest street celebration. So come see Elmo, Big Bird, and Abby Cadabby in a brand new sensory adventure live on stage. Check out sesamestreetlive.com. Or to win tickets, you can email us at hamiltonlive@cable14.com. Tell us where we get our funding, and you'll be entered for your chance to win a Family 4 Pass. Good luck.
Sure, I nibble, but that doesn't make me a nibbler. I'm a social nibbler. I just do it when I'm out. It's not like I buy my own nibbles. I don't have to. I can just bum a nibble from my friends. I don't call myself a nibbler because I'm not addicted to it. It's just something I do for fun. I'm a social nibbler. Can't you see the difference?
Welcome back. I'm Celeste Licorish, and you're watching Hamilton's Vital Signs. We're talking about the Hamilton for All initiative that's helping to bust myths about immigrants and the contributions they make in our community. My guests are Johanna and John. Johanna is the program manager from the Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion, and John works with the City of Hamilton and is a member of the Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council. So before the break, we'd been talking about the Hamilton for All program. And there are some posters. There's a poster campaign that people might have seen, but you've brought a couple of them up.
Yes,
if you just hold them up, people can get a sense of it. If you could just tell us a little bit about how you chose the images and what the messaging is around this.
Yeah, so there on each poster there is a person from a diverse background, and we try to represent young, old, visible minority, and not. And so the messaging is, it says, you don't just belong in Hamilton, you are Hamilton. So what we are trying to focus is on the person, and like that everybody belongs here, including newcomers. And it's a welcoming message to show that we are welcoming. And down in the small font, you see it talks about stereotypes harms us. They are not useful to us.
You can put the posters down. They can.
Okay.
But so on the bottom they've got like a hashtag Hamilton for All.
Yeah. So what we are asking people is to leave a welcoming message through. It could be through social media that they use, or they can message us through the website hamiltonforall.ca, and then also to suggest, for example, activities, what you love about Hamilton, and share it with the new Hamiltonians that we have.
Okay, so give me an example. Would it be like your favorite place to eat, or like?
It could be, for example, let's say you are going for art crawl and share some picture and say, come and join the Hamilton art scene, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just ways to make people that are newcomers feel welcome by people who have been here.
Yeah, and then at the same time giving that information, because that's how you, when you are a newcomer, like you don't know where to go, like maybe you don't know where to entertain your kids. So those suggestions kind of are helpful and shows that also as a person like you care.
And social media is kind of the main venue for this. So are there Facebook pages? Is it mostly Twitter? Like what's the?
Yes, the HCCI's Facebook page is we are using that, and then through you can use the hashtag Hamilton for All on any social media, and we will be able to track the message. Oh, okay. And right now also we are actually working on a video as kind of wrapping up the campaign, like collecting all those messages to put them together in one.
Okay, in one video. So now this campaign started in Canada's 150th anniversary. Yeah. So was there a special significance to choosing that time to launch it, or?
Yeah, honestly, the first one, there was a funding opportunity which kind of worked out nicely. So we were very thankful for Hamilton Community Foundation for giving us the funding. And it's really, the Canada 150 was focused on also, one theme was diversity. Diversity is our strength. So it kind of really tied with that one together. So we actually, when we, Hamilton for All, we did the kickoff at the Canada Day at Bay, where we have a big map where we asked people, where are you from, and pin where you are from.
Oh, and they had threads connecting to Hamilton.
Yes, that was a very interesting activity, because people who have been here for generations and who haven't been thinking about being an immigrant, they kind of say, oh yeah, like we are all the same. And it's very interesting when you look at like Hamilton being the destination, and from all over the world, people.
Well, I had heard that Hamilton was one of the most popular places for people who are landing in Canada. It was one of the places that a lot of immigrants come here. So it's not surprising that you would have from all over the world people who have come. So tell me a little bit about the successes that you've seen with the campaign so far. Are there any highlights that you can think of, or opportunities where you said, yeah, we're really onto something? Maybe, John, if you could take that.
Yeah, I mean, if I say start, first of all, I have to acknowledge and appreciate the support from the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada.
Yeah. Because
they're also one of the major funders of this campaign right now. So we're at, I forgot how many bus shelters
about
we
40?
are. About 40 bus shelters across the city, as well as city buses.
Yeah.
And also in March, we'll be in the newspapers as well, so people can also read more about the campaign in the newspaper.
Okay.
So the campaign is all about visibility. So as a community, we have to create that visibility. Success is the fact that we've seen people now talking to us, saying that, oh, I saw that ad somewhere.
So there's some recognition.
There's
that's
recognition
happening?
for it that is happening. People are talking about it a little bit. So incrementally, we're hearing from people that this is a great campaign. And I know when that launched, even on Twitter, we could see a lot of comments, people saying, this is like long overdue, we need this kind of conversation. We got to keep the conversation alive. Yeah. And this is all important stuff, because at the end of the day, too, this whole campaign also dovetails into the city's vision, which is to be the best place to raise a child and to age successfully.
Yeah, and it is a sanctuary city, so by definition, everyone should feel welcome.
So the message is all about Hamilton welcomes everybody.
Yeah.
We, when people come to Hamilton, they can expect that we're here to support them. We're here to make sure that we're a society that's very open and very welcoming. People can thrive. People can do business here. People can raise their family here. That is the message. And
I noticed that's being reinforced. There's some other small signs that says Hamilton welcomes musicians, Hamilton welcomes artists. There seems to be this layering effect by making sure that no matter where you look in the city, there's some messaging that's reinforcing that. But then being reinforced also with these personal messages. I love the idea, Johanna, of having people connecting with each other. Do you have any stories of people who have connected through inviting people, say, for ice cream or to art crawl or anything like that you've been able to track?
Maybe not exactly like that, but we have message through Twitter and Facebook saying, I have been here like for 20 years. So there was a person who shared her story. She's from South Africa,
Yeah.
and then she saw the ads that was on the front page of the Hamilton District. And she said, I've been here for 20 years. I would say, like, this is the first time I felt like, yeah, I'm a Hamiltonian.
Really?
So she shared that with someone who was sitting at the bus, and she shared that with us on social media. And people, and then lots of people who work with immigrants, for example, the language instructors,
Yeah.
they are taking this to their classrooms, like in Mohawk and other places, in link classes, and
Yeah.
this creates that sense of belonging.
Which is so
for-
important, and
Yeah.
I think people kind of take that for granted. They don't realize that when you're part of a community, that sense of belonging, like you belong, you're not an outsider looking in, that you actually belong, is very, very important. So the messaging is critical.
Yeah, that's why we
Yes.
say you are Hamilton.
You
So
are
it's not like you and like them and us, not like that. We
So that
want
otherizing
everybody.
that tends to
Yes.
happen too, you're really kind of breaking that
Yes.
barrier right at its
That's-
base. Yeah.
That's the goal.
So what's the future for this campaign? Is this the first part of something else? Does it have a wrap-up date? Tell me a little bit about what you see happening in the future.
Yeah, I mean, as a start, this conversation should be ongoing.
Yeah.
So even though it's a great campaign, but at the end of the day, it's something that we're hoping that family members and parents will take back to their living rooms, their dining rooms, and talk to kids about it. Why it's important to have inclusion and all that within the city. But for the campaign itself, so we're building that momentum, through the ads that we're doing, through the bus shelters that we're doing, through the social media that we're doing, and the website as well, hamiltonforall.ca, and through other activities that we're doing as well. Building that all the way between now and April,
Okay.
because in May, we're planning to have our first newcomer day for Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
And that is something that has been done. I know that City of Toronto has done something like that, and we're looking at that as well in Hamilton, that will build that message incrementally all the way to building momentum for the first newcomer day in Hamilton in May.
That will be wonderful. That will be a wonderful event. And of course, we have our ambassadors who are out speaking to different organizations. And what has their feedback been like? What has the response been to the ambassadors when they go out and talk to groups and organizations?
So far, they tell us that they feel welcomed, and
Yeah.
not all of them are like brand newcomers. Some we on purpose chose like recent newcomers who have been here like maybe a year, and some have been here for 20 years. So we have that diversity when it comes to also recent and those who are established. So they tell us like they also, it's beneficial for them as well to go out and network and know the community much better, especially for the recent immigrants who are looking for creating and kind of widening their networks.
Their networks, yeah. Do you find any barriers in terms of language that are barriers for newcomers, and specifically around this campaign? Or are you finding that this is helping?
Due to like funding, we were not able to like change this translate to different languages. And the ambassadors, they all speak English. Like
so you could do it in the one language.
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming down to the end of our segment. So if you could each give me one thing that you'd like people who are watching at home to think about or do to help promote this campaign or to help keep it going. Whether they're an immigrant, well, everybody's an immigrant. So what can they do? What can we do?
I mean, from my view, I think it's like join the conversation. Like I've said before, this campaign should not end just because there's a poster.
All right.
It's something we should be talking about at schools. We should be talking about that at home. It's an ongoing effort. So I would say, like, let everybody within the community join that conversation.
And Johanna?
Similar. So go to hamiltonforall.ca right now, and we actually have 5 actions that you can do as a everyday Hamiltonian, starting from talking to your neighbors.
Thank you both so much. We are out of time. I don't know how this has happened, but that's all we have time for today. Okay. Thank you to our guests, Johana Otite and John Ariyo. On behalf of Hamilton Community Foundation, we look forward to seeing you again next month. In the meantime, don't forget, you can watch the show and any of our previous shows on Cable 14, and you can read more on our website, hamiltoncommunityfoundation.ca. Thank you for joining us.